She's a lot bit woo-woo, and she's doing the do. Welcome to the Woo and the Do podcast, where Irina and Christine Michelle teach you how to combine the spiritual and the physical. Because you get to use all of you and the universe to manifest a life you enjoy. Come join us. Let's have some fun. So, hi everybody. I'm Christine Michelle.
It's Irina Pichura.
And we are here with the Woo and the Do podcast. Really excited, or maybe I'm somewhat excited about our topic today because you're going to learn a lot about us. We are talking about relationships, dating, sex, and the whole energetic frequency of it, attracting your relationship or attracting, maybe you just want sex, attracting that into your life, how I can figure it out for myself, and how Irina has found an amazing relationship in her life. So let's go. Irina, so I'm going to let you go first because you had the success in relationships. So tell us more. Tell us about your dating history.
Let's do it. So I, dated a lot of guys in my life. I've had, some main relationships that stand out throughout my 20s. There was a big chunk of time where I wasn't dating. I was trying to date, let's say, but I really wasn't meeting the right person. And I just felt like it was time in my life where I was ready to settle down. I was ready to find that relationship, that soulmate that I've been dreaming about since I was a little girl, and I was just ready for it. I knew I was ready to take the next step, start a family, do all that stuff. So I was just ready for it, but it wasn't happening. And it wasn't happening for quite some time, Christine. It wasn't happening, I would say, for 5-6 years. I've been wanting to have this relationship, and it just wasn't, manifesting in my reality. I was going on a lot of first dates, and this is when, things kind of shifted from just Match.com over to Tinder and Bumble, and it just became a disaster for quite some time. I don't know what your experience has been with online dating, but my online dating experience was quite the disaster, and I'm so grateful that I, could delete those apps from my phone. And just looking back at that experience, it was quite horrific. So the shift did happen, and I'm happy to talk about that shift. But yeah, that's been kind of my history in a nutshell.
Well, I'll give a little bit about my history, and then I want to talk about how your shift happened. How you went from swiping left, swiping right, and all those freaky messages on Bumble. I know everyone loves Bumble, but you know what? It was a lot of work. It made me really respect guys and all the crap that they have to do. I was like, oh, Bumble schmumble, goodness gracious, I got to talk to all these guys. Oh my God, it sucks. Okay, so so my dating and relationship, I'm a little bit older than Irina, so I'm about 42. And really, I never really had a great, a lot of dating. I grew up in a very Christian household. And I just grew up with friends and girlfriends and all of that stuff, where we kind of dated one dude at a time, which is now so not what I desire. So, but that's kind of how we were taught, right? Because when girls dated more than one guy, it looked bad. And that's the way I was brought up. And so let's say high school, I had crushes and they would never pan out. And I always ended up choosing the guy that would like me, but I never liked them back, which sucked, right? And so fast forward, let's see, I had there was this relationship which I did talk about on my page, and it wasn't even a relationship. It was really trying. And for years and years and years, he was super interested. His friends all knew that and who I was, and they would spot me and do all these kind of things, but it never hit that place. He never took a step. I never took a step. And then when I took the step, I missed the phone call, all of the things. It just was bad. It just hours. And so, but it was a lot about my vibration and where I was as to like, where my worthiness, my enoughness, like, did I really want a relationship with him, and, you know, and all of that stuff. So that's all played into it. But now I fast forward and I think about where I am right now. And I got to a point where I was like, you know what, I want to date, right? And it was a couple of years ago, maybe it was 1 or 2 years ago. And so I wanted to get into the dating vibe. So I turned on Hallmark movies, like really like got into the love vibe and the love feeling, right? And this was, you know, I had a real big focus on Abraham Hicks. So I was like, I'm happy, I'm feeling good, I'm da-da-da-da, so dating should be easy. So I got into the love feeling. I got on Tinder and I got on Bumble, and I had like 92 matches. None of them worked out. I have stories for all of the ages. Purple haired guy, the guy who didn't really know he was gay, but I know right now if I checked up on him in New York, he would be having his husband and a beautiful family, and I'm so proud of him. That's a story that maybe for the end of the podcast that everyone will laugh at. But I just had so many situations. And so then I ended up kind of dating my neighbor because he was so interested in me. And then it turned out that I wasn't good enough again. And that's what really propelled me again into the coaching industry, because I know that a lot of times we focus on stay positive, stay positive, stay positive, and we bury our head and we don't really address some of the things that are underneath. And if you don't address them, the same thing is going to pop up. The same issue keeps popping up. And that's what brought me in there. And now I have so many clients that have manifested like loves of their lives and things like that. But I have been so focused on business and like just really establishing myself as the transformational leader and all of that stuff that I haven't gotten back to focusing on like a relationship and what I would like. But I know because I never did that dating thing, and even though I'm 42, I know that kids are probably not in my future. I'm like, I want to date. Like, I want to date multiple men at one time.
Yep.
I maybe want to bring a lot of sex in my life because I've had a lot of long dry spell, which we'll talk about later. You know, so I'm like, I want to do something different, and I really had to I still need to step into my enoughness, my worthiness, and really not giving a fuck about what other people think about me dating multiple men at one time and maybe having one or more sexual partners at one time. All of that stuff is just something that will be interesting. So I am looking forward to dating. I'll have to bring all of those fun stories whenever I'm ready to really take the leap, but that's my dating history.
Got it. That was so interesting. I mean, you mentioning the Bumble and the Tinder, I did find it very exhausting. And it's so funny. It's like every single date was like an adventure. It wasn't even like, okay, you know, let's go on a nice date. I mean, there was some of that as well, but every single time it was just also very depleting. Like it really does take a lot of energy. And at some point I was just like obsessed with like just like swiping and swiping and swiping. And then it just became like these like boring conversations like, hey, what's up with you? And the same conversations over and over again. Until you kind of like hit the jackpot, you know, and go on like a date finally. And it was just like, I don't know, like I feel like that whole energy in and of itself probably wasn't really doing much for me. Just the fact that I wasn't enjoying myself on these apps and kind of didn't feel like I belonged there. So I don't think that, I mean, I know people that, you know, meet people on Tinder and Bumble and they get married and have kids and all that good stuff. I've seen that happen. Yeah. It just, you know, because I feel like maybe it wasn't the right place for me, and it's all about energy. And it just, I didn't feel like I belonged there. So that's probably why it never worked out for me.
No, yeah. Totally. I didn't and haven't enjoyed the online dating thing. I've had really great stories. I will write a book about that one day soon. Yeah. And many amazing stories over the life of my dating career from online dating. But I just felt I belong. Like, I feel like I know the guy and I feel we're going to meet in some way, not on swiping left and swiping right. For some reason, I feel it. I'm connected to it. And it's not that there's a wrong thing or right thing about it. It's just that I know that either I'm going to walk somewhere, or I'll be traveling and meet the guy, or maybe he's in the conscious creation movement, a super hot conscious guy. Hello, if you look at Decker, give me a call. Or Jesse Williams,
Right.
Screaming at me. I have a very right friend, so just send me your numbers. But I know that we're gonna connect in a way that is not gonna feel so forced for me. And
Right.
people were like, I mean, I would get guys that would say, "Oh my God, your profile is awesome," because I mean, I'm a great writer and I just write from the heart, and they loved it. I talk about the Yankee games that I went to. I talk about all of the things, right? They loved it. But I didn't, the energy behind it just didn't feel like, oh, let's go. And that's why I got the results that I did. So you shifted your energy and you
Yes.
met this amazing man. Tell us how you did it. What did you do? What was all the things? Tell us all the things.
It's funny because the person that I'm dating now, the wonderful man that I'm with right now, I knew him for years.
Always
I knew him for years. So all the while I was dating and doing this, exhausting Bumble, Schmumble, Tinder, however many apps I had, I knew him and we were friends. And I never really gave it a chance. And it wasn't until I shifted that energy that I actually put the two and two together. And the way that I did it was kind of interesting. I was on YouTube. I was actually just like out of a really bad Tinder experience, which I'm not going to get into too much. It would be overwhelming for you guys to hear this experience, but it was quite the experience. And I just had enough. Like I had enough of, going on a date or dating someone for a month or dating someone for 2 months and thinking this is going to be a relationship, and then something ended up happening and it just ended up not working out. I was just done with it. Like I was over it. I was not doing it anymore. I had enough, but I was still desiring that relationship. Like I wanted this relationship. So I was just Googling. I went to Google and I said, what can I find? And I stumbled across a YouTube video of a love coach. And I know it sounds super corny and cheesy, but I ended up listening to her like just video on YouTube, and something about her, like I love, Matthew Hussey and all the stuff, but I feel like it's like very generic information. And what she had to say really was different. It was so different than anything else that I've heard out there with dating advice. And she worked on feminine energy, and it's all about manifestation, but it's in a way that she says it, the way that she talks about it. She doesn't actually specifically say this is manifesting your soulmate or something like that, but she talks about feminine energy, and all of her skills and tools and techniques are manifesting. In fact, it is. So I ended up joining her private Facebook group with a bunch of amazing women, and her entire tribe is, women that are really successful in their careers and, don't have that want a successful relationship as well, but don't have it. And it's just, a lot of women, they're go in their dating, in their careers, and they're very masculine energy. So this is what she explains. They're very masculine and they don't know how to turn that off when they date. So we're very much like do, go, masculine, right? And then when we're, with men, we're still do, go. And we want to put forth that energy, and it just doesn't work. So, when you go on a date, for example, you are on Tinder and, the man invites you on a date or whatever, you say, okay, I'll meet you there, but that's not how she recommends it. She recommends that the man plans the date, the man invites you on the date, the man pays for the dinner, the man really puts forth all of that effort, and we just lean back and enjoy.
And receive.
So in the date, we're in the moment, we're literally physically leaning back and enjoying what is around us. And that's definitely not what I was doing. I was nervous on my dates. I was very much in my head, very masculine energy, and I had to turn that off. And it took some time because it's not automatic that you learn about this and turn it off. It's learning the skills. So it wasn't until I really learned about that masculine, feminine energy, how we have that duality, that things, change for me. So, yeah.
It's beautiful. I know now that you spoke of Matthew Hussey, it's so funny. A lot of especially men dating coaches, but a lot of the dating coaches, what I find as well is that they try to put everyone in a box. Hold on. They try to put everyone in a box. Sorry, guys, the printer is going off, but hopefully it's not too loud. But they try to put everyone in a box, right? So Matthew, don't text him, don't do this, don't do that. And it's funny when I look at a lot of the women that I'm working with, or a lot of like the women, like large, very good coaches, when they just got rid of all of those rules and really tapped into being themselves, right?
Yes.
It's not scared to say whatever you want to say, because if you speak from your heart and follow your soul, you're gonna be balanced, right? You're gonna be, or if you're not, then you can learn as you go. So it can make dating so much easier. Now, I've always been the person that's so easy to talk to me and connect with me. I always have really, really close male friends and men who would want to date me, right? Because I'm playful, I have fun, but I'm myself. But then when I found that I liked somebody, right, I was like, oh, let me listen to what Matthew Hussey has to say, or let me listen to what this other person has to say. And then all of a sudden you're not being your full self, and you're scared to, oh, should I send a text or should I not? Guess what? If you want to send the text, send the text. And then if you become the clingy, stage 5 clinger, that's something that you'll have to deal with in your soul. That relationship won't work out, and you'll understand why, because you have to go through those experiences in order to learn. You know? So I love the masculine, and you have the feminine, because men also as well have masculine and feminine side.
Right.
We all have that. And I feel like being more feminine in your business also helps you propel and helps you become like even bigger and succeed even better. I feel like we grew up in a world where there is that push and the do. And you guys will know that I always speak about aligned soul action, which means you're listening to your soul and you're receiving the guidance. And then you can take some of the actions, and some of those actions are going to be feminine based actions, right? Feminine based things that you're doing, but some of those things are going to be masculine, and it's all about like balance and doing them at the right time, like when it flows. And if you're following soul and you're doing that 360 like body, mind, soul like movement in your life, then you are going to be doing like the masculine when it's, when you need it, and the feminine when you need it, because you're just being you.
Right.
That's how easy dating can be. But I feel like a lot of times we put so much pressure on ourselves, especially as women, to look a certain way, be a certain way, and speak a certain way, that it really, we let it get hard.
Yeah, no. And for me, it was about my self-worth. I really had to take a look at that and just realize that it just, I did not value myself. I didn't think that I was worthy of these relationships, but I didn't really know it. Like, I knew that I went to a great school. I had great jobs. I was funny. I'm good looking. And it just, why wasn't it working out for me? And I was just like, really stuck. But it was my self-worth and me thinking that I just wasn't worthy of a great relationship. And I thought that a great relationship wasn't possible for a man to really love me the way that I wanted to be loved. Like, I just didn't even believe that it existed. And if you don't believe that it exists, like, how can you even like manifest this into your life? And it wasn't until I really worked on myself and my limiting beliefs, which I had so many, not even knowing. And it wasn't until I got rid of all those negative limiting beliefs that I found the right relationship. And yeah, it was a lot of working on myself, and also like self-care, like that feminine self-care. What I would do is, just take bubble baths. Like, I never even took time to take bubble baths. Like, I would go to the gym and be like, right? But I wouldn't take time to just light candles, listen to nice, relaxing music, and just take care of myself. And that's part of where I learned to embrace my feminine energy. That was really exciting. And that's something that I take in my business right now, is take that time to self-care. Yeah. I love the go, go, go. And there's a time and place for that. But until you take a moment to step back and to step into your feminine energy, things aren't going to really flow.
It'll feel like a lot of push, right? Because you're doing that masculine push thing, and you're not truly like really receiving, listening and receiving. And I know when I think about too, when I was younger, it was, you were taught like, it was, don't accept gifts from people, right? So that was like, oh, receiving is bad, right? So you grow up,
Yes.
is, you know, say, don't accept gifts from guys, they only want one thing. And it's like, really? Now I think about it, like, really? When you think about it, if I think about like, think about the Kardashians, is there a gift that one of them have never wanted to receive? Like they didn't say, oh no, I have too much money, I'm not going to take that. Or no, you're a guy, you're not supposed to buy me that. No, Chris taught them how to receive. They hate them or love them, but they are really very good receivers. And that's why they're receiving a lot of money, a lot of attention, a lot of fame, just a lot of things. And love from guys or not love from guys. Like they're just good receivers. And I wonder, like after, when I was brought up, my sister and I had this conversation. We're like, yeah, you know, we were taught a certain way about this is how you interact with guys and don't receive this and don't receive that. And it's like, but that can creep into that. Not receiving is going to creep into a lot of different areas and not just relationships, right? It's not receiving money with ease or not receiving all kinds of things. So that receiving part of the energy, which, you know, receiving for women is sex, you're the receiver of some of the stuff. And then relationships, you're receiving love, but you're also being able to give love and be the lover and the giver too. So
Yeah.
it's pretty fun. You learn a lot about yourself when you're in relationships, you know. So when did you realize that he was someone that you were like, oh, I didn't realize this all along? Like, when did you realize it?
Yeah. So since I started doing that work, I just, you know, I did a lot of it. It was probably around like November, December, towards the end of the year. And then in January, it just felt like I'm taking a break from dating. This is not working. I'm taking a break. I'm giving myself like a month. I'm deleting these apps, no more dating. And I remember there was a wedding coming up with a mutual friend of ours. And I was just here, you know, like I knew they were going to the wedding, and I really kind of invited myself. Now that I think back at it, I knew there was a wedding happening.
Inspired action.
I wanted I wanted to actually like just go to Miami, see my parents, because my parents live in Miami, I'm in New York. And I just thought, okay, you know, I want to go, you know. We had this friendship, right, for 3 years, like I mentioned. And I always remember, you know, whenever I needed advice or, you know, something happened, I would call him for advice or kind of like a support system. He was always there for me, right? So I knew they were in Vegas on the bachelor party, and I texted him like, hey, you know, do you think I can go to the wedding? And I remember a year ago, he had asked me to go to another friend's wedding, and I was in Miami. I could have gone, and I said no. And I don't know why. I was just holding back, and I haven't worked on myself. So I guess
mind with it just yet.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for
it up. If you'd have went, it'd have
messed it probably wouldn't have been the right time. I do believe in divine timing. So I asked him, you know, hey, and this was where I tested it. I said, you know, if he says yes to buying my ticket, I'll go. So I texted him. I said, hey, you know, I want to go to the wedding. Will you buy me my ticket? And that was my feminine energy. I was just like, you know what? If he gives me the ticket and gives me a way to go to this wedding, I'll go. And I did. And we ended up like, that was probably still the best night of my life. Like, to think of it now, a year and a half later, it was just the best night. We went on this wedding. We hit it off. We just like fell in love at the wedding. Like it's yeah. And I never really thought that it would happen that way. And I ended up staying there a little bit longer than I initially thought. And we ended up getting to know each other. And he lived in North Carolina at the time. He said, you know what? He told all his friends, like, I am moving up to New York. And now here we are a year later living in New York.
How long did it take him to move up there?
It was fast. So when, you know, we realized it was going to be like a long distance relationship, I was very much against it because I've been in those before, and I knew I was not moving again. I've been there, done that. It was not happening. So if it was going to work, and I knew it was going to work, he was going to have to come up here, even though it would have been a lot more difficult, you know, for him to come up to New York, to this big city, start a new job. And so I went from guys not being able to make the effort of, you know, paying for a date or, you know, picking a restaurant or whatever, just these minute, like little details. They weren't able to pull that together, to this guy literally picking up his entire life, leaving his friends and family, coming up to New York, not knowing a single soul, finding a job, moving in with me and making it work. Like that is what I went from, that, these like Tinder dates that didn't do anything, to complete 180.
Yeah. And it's so easy. It's all about shifting your energy, right? And it doesn't have to take a long time. It starts with awareness, right? Allowing yourself to be aware of what's going on, not sticking your head in the sand, right? And you became aware. You're like, wow, this is what I believe, this, I believe that, I believe this. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Now what do I choose? And you chose something different for yourself. And then you also started being in the feminine energy that you just really wanted to feel, right? You wanted to feel someone who was able to support you in all the ways.
Yes.
Up to New York and paying for your tickets for you to go to an amazing wedding. Like all of those things, all of the things that a lot of times, I don't know, listeners, you got to leave some notes or some comments for us. Like, have you ever, like, for example, been shamed? Let's say if your boyfriend does pay for something, or if you're dating a guy and you want him to pay for dinner, you know, because it's all comes back to us. Like whatever gets mirrored out, you know, outside of us, it's usually a mirror of what's going on inside. So if you're attracting someone who isn't paying, you know, your way, or, you know, isn't allowing you to step fully into that feminine energy, you have to think like, what are my beliefs about that? Do I believe that it's bad for me to receive? Because that was a belief that I did grow up with, like, oh, I don't want him to want anything else. And now I'm like, please want that. Cause you know, it's been a long time, but anyway, so, but you know, like, what are your beliefs about that? Instead of being angry at the person, just say, okay, that date didn't work out. So what can I learn about myself from this situation? And then you can shift those things in the moment, especially sometimes it can just shift with awareness. And then other times you can go through some energetic processes and deeply like move and shift them out of your energy field. But that's the fun thing about this thing, like about creating your reality, about co-creating with the universe. You can also ask for guidance, you know, because I know once I'm ready to start dating again, and guys, if you're real super attractive, like I said, Eric Decker, Jesse Williams, if you're looking in here and you think about them, send me a call. But when I'm ready to start dating again, I just know I'm going to ask for guidance a lot, like really tapping into what my soul truly wants, and not like, oh, I'm this age, so let me get on Tinder, or oh, I'm this age, so let me get on Bumble and exhaust myself, and all of those things. It is going to be the easiest process because it will be something that I'm 100% behind, and my energy is 100% behind. And I think that's what happened with you. Your energy became 100% behind yourself. Like you know, you knew you were worthy, you knew you were enough, and you just stood at enoughness and that I amness, and then your femininity, and you let that shine. And look what it did. It gave you manifested an amazing man. And it's a year and a half later. Yay.
Yeah. It's quite amazing. And I want our listeners to know that it is possible, like regardless of what your dating situation really is, that it is possible for you to meet a high quality man. And there is nothing that you have to do outside of just being yourself. You are enough the way you are today, because I really thought that there's something else that I had to do to get that quality man. And that is completely untrue.
Yeah.
There is nothing. Yeah.
You're right. Like, because you didn't change anything. You just went inside and began to love yourself as you were now. So that shows you there's nothing that you have to do. You don't have to lose any weight. You don't have to look a certain way. You don't have to have a ton of dating experience even before that. Like, you just have to really tune in and love yourself for where you are right there, and know that you're enough and know that you're worthy. And when you start stepping into that, then you can also start really looking at, like you say, what are your beliefs about this? And you can use the dating game to play and be like, okay, that was funny. So what can I learn about myself in that situation? And then you'll start seeing things shift and change dating can be fun.
It should be fun and it should be easy. That's what I have to add. You don't have to try hard. You don't have to overthink it. It should be a fun, flowy experience. And you have to really do step into your feminine energy. Like, it's so important. If you want to like read up on what feminine and masculine energy is, like you mentioned, men have their feminine and masculine, and we also have that duality. And and I practice it every day. I do every time we go on a date, every time he comes home. Even though I work from home, I have to have that definitive end where I'm not working, because that's not attractive to a man. And it's just like, it has to be off. I have to be turned off, and I just have to be in my feminine energy. And that's where things for us really work. When I feel like I'm really, worried about something, worry is not a feminine energy. So we could talk about like a little bit of what feminine energy is. So worry, thinking, doing, planning, right? Like planning dates, doing things like paying for something. Like you don't have to do all that much. All you have to do is be yourself, like you were like a little girl, right? Like playful, playing with your pet, bubble baths, all that fun stuff, that feminine energy. That's what you have to really step into.
Yeah, and then there's also, we have to remember too, there are women that are more masculine and men that are more feminine.
Yes.
And they
Yes.
too. So like if bubble baths aren't your thing and you're just more in the masculine thing, that is your thing, then you have to think about what type of man would you like to attract, and
For sure.
find somebody who messes with you perfectly. One of the guys I used to work with, he was more giving, very, and his wife, now ex-wife, but before that they were perfect for each other because she was more she was more this. So you can attract, just be yourself.
That's true. That's true.
What the energy is,
right,
to make it easy, be yourself, and you're going to attract somebody who is perfect for you.
Right.
While you're just being yourself. Now, if you try to force yourself to be something that you're not, then that could make it harder. Like I think about one of my mentors. She is a 7, almost 8-figure earner. And then she now finally like connected with this amazing man who is the love of her life. And she does have a feminine side, but she still is 100% about work. But she attracted a man who loves to sit next to her with the laptop, and they go on the bed and they do the laptop thing together. You just never know, like whatever you love, if you're yourself and you love what you love, you're going to attract that person who fits that. But I know the coach that you worked with also helps women, because there are some women that want to be more feminine and they're so stuck in the corporate and stuck in the masculine that they don't even know what they want, because they're not tuned into their soul to really know, like, what would I like to do right now? What actions would I take? So there's somebody out there for everybody when you're being yourself, like really from your soul.
Yeah, no, she spoke about a majority of women do want to step into that feminine, right? But there are some women, she said, 10% of women are that masculine. And if that's who you are, then you have to be prepared to attract that feminine energy of a man. Right.
It might not be effeminate. So like, it's not like you're going to be like, oh my God. Like
well, no.
In New York. It won't be like that, but he'll be that balance, right?
Balance.
That, whatever, or he'll be just a balance to you and to what that is. So I think now an easy thing is like, if you are tapping into your instincts and your soul and like what you love to do, then you're going to connect with both the masculine and the feminine energy, and you're going to allow it to flow in whatever way that works well for you.
Right.
So fun. Yes. Yay. So what do you see? Like, this is one thing. I love The Bachelor. I'm all about The Bachelor and The Bachelor. So I love to watch those shows and laugh my ass off. So one thing that I was watching, and my sister and I, my friend, we're actually going to go tonight and watch Paradise from Tuesday because she was out of town and we couldn't connect. So, but if you guys, women, it's all about being in the now moment.
Yes.
It's all about being in the now. You will see those women on that show and they like, oh, Tia, God bless her soul, For 6 months in her head, she dated Colin and she had already married him. They had 6 kids and she knew every single name. Like she had taken the relationship from here to here without actually being in that relationship. And there's no judgment because we all have done it because that's just what we're taught as little girls, right? We're taught to play with the Barbie dolls and the baby and think about the marriage and think about all of these things. But if you pull back and just realize that it's all about the now moment and allowing things to organically grow and not expecting something to go to the end to be something, it will help you so much. I mean, look at Ashley I. She ended up, yes, engaged to Jared, but it was after she dated someone else, probably had sex with him. I'm not saying that. Don't sue us, Ashley, but I think you did. And she just got rid of that, just needing to be with Jared, having it to have that. Once she let that go, then she was able to allow Jared into her life. She had her soul. She knew it was him, but she was so hell-bent on making it happen and so distraught when it didn't happen. Once she let it go, she was able to allow it in. So I think it's so important that we start thinking about the now moment, being in the now moment, and don't like make your relationship or bring your relationship light years ahead of where it is today. Like, have fun where you are.
Yeah. It's funny because once I learned all of those things with that coach, that love coach, and the feminine and the masculine and all that stuff, when I watch The Bachelor again or any of these dating shows, I cringe because they're all about what can I do? What can I do to impress them? How can I get his attention? How can I get a moment of his time? And that is not what's attractive. And if you notice when you watch the show, what these men gravitate towards are the women that are kind of like, meh, I don't know, I don't know. They're kind of more aloof and kind of like, you come to me.
Yeah. Especially on the Paradise. It's with The Bachelor, they're fighting, right, over this one guy. So you've got 25 women all fighting over this one guy and they can't stand each other. And then you put them in Paradise and they're all best friends because they're not fighting over the same man. So they have like this shortage consciousness when they're on The Bachelor because he's the one.
Yeah.
And then on Bachelor in Paradise, it's not as much shortage consciousness because they're like, oh, there's many guys and they're all good looking. And
right.
But then they still, like you said, they start shifting themselves, not being themselves. And then they start really like going in their heads and creating like these relationships out of one date or before the date.
Yeah.
Like, but it's really all things that you guys can look at. And when you have awareness, you can just watch. I watch it and I would say, see, energetically, such and such and so is happening. It's just so interesting. I love it.
I used to create relationships out of one dates, like in my head. Let's be honest, I did it and it was just pathetic looking back. I would, go on a date and I would be like, oh my God, this is the one. This is the perfect guy. He has all these like check boxes. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't hear from him and I would be devastated. I would just be like, well, where did he go? And I got ghosted so many times. And it's not because I'm not amazing and this great person. It was just my, I wasn't in the right headspace. I wasn't doing what I should be doing. So, I mean, I'm glad I went through those experiences because now I can appreciate my relationship. I'm not going to look back and say, oh my God, look at all those mistakes that I made. I'm grateful because I wouldn't have found this coach. I wouldn't have, stumbled upon it, and all divine timing as well. Like I wasn't ready for a relationship back then. I just wish I would have saved some time and knew that, but
you know what? It's never ever too late. I'm 42 and I haven't had that relationship yet, but there's always enough time in the world. Time is just a construct. And as long as you love yourself, focus on yourself, loving your life fully.
Yeah. Yes.
If you desire that divine partnership, that divine partner, that conscious relationship, whatever, it will appear in your life when it is time. Or when you decide, okay, I want to shift my focus and focus on this. And then things will start popping up and then you'll start shifting and allowing it in. But yeah, just know there is no time. There's no time shortage. And when you're ready, it'll be there. Like when you're ready to step into it. But if you decide that this is something that you want now, Irina has given you some amazing things to think about. The feminine energy. If you find that you don't feel like yourself, you're exhausted at the end of the day, your mind can't stop going. I mean, think, meditation, dance, and movement, like connecting with your soul and saying, what would I like to do? It could just be nap. It could just be go take a bubble bath. It could be yoga. Like there's going to be some things that your soul will tell you to do. And it's going to align with almost exactly what Irina was doing. Like if you're in that masculine energy side. Now, if you're, let's say you're overly feminine and then you're not doing anything, then your soul might tell you, oh, get on to Tinder or get on Bumble so that you guys have to do something. Like, you know, so like whatever you feel led to do, just remember in that first 3 seconds, whatever you feel led, if you're like, what should I do next? Or guidance, please help me. What should I do? I really know and trust and believe what, you know, what I'm going to hear. And then whatever your instinct is in that first 3 seconds, just go do it. If you got a crush on a guy, I know I get a lot of comments and there's a lot of women that have these crushes and they have these attractions to guys and they're so scared to talk to them or reach out and say hello. Like saying hello does not make you masculine. It just means that you're like, hi, I'm opening the door. And I think, you know, just take the action that your soul is telling you to do. And I know it can be scary AF, but do it, because when it's scary, celebrate, because that means you're going up leveling, you're getting out of your comfort zone, you're going to a place you haven't been before, which could be that amazing relationship or just shifting you to a higher vibration.
Yeah, I agree. I was definitely scared to go to Miami on a first date. Like that was a lot of pressure. Yeah, but I asked him to pay for it, and
that was awesome.
He did it. He Venmoed me the money, and I booked the ticket, and I was there. And it was, you know, something like that. Also, like listening to that intuition. I remember that moment right before. I was like, should I or shouldn't I? And I remember my mom was visiting me, and I'm like, should I go to Miami? She's like, yeah, go, have fun. You never go, right? And I'm like, F it, let's go. And I booked the ticket. I did it. It happened so quickly, and it just all came together. So yeah, I really recommend that.
Was there any fear? Because you sound like you had a little bit of fear about asking him to pay for the ticket.
A little bit, but I was following that coach's advice, because she was just like, you know, have these men do these things for you. You don't have to do it on your own. You don't have to. So you know, it was my form of like seeing if he would pay for dinner, because obviously we weren't together, but I wanted to see if he would pay for dinner, AKA book my flight. And he did. He was in Vegas gambling. He just lost a ton of money. And he's like, really, this girl right now? And he did it anyway, because he wanted to date me.
Yes, exactly. He wanted to be with you. That's so awesome. All right. So this was really fun. We're going to come back, guys. We'll talk about sex and dating more and more. And then when I dive into dating pool again, I will bring those fun stories. I have so many stories about the past, and then I have stories that I know I'll be bringing in the future. I look forward to it. So is there anything last that you just wanted to leave the audience with, and anything from your heart that you'd love to say?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, I want anyone that's dating or feels discouraged to really, you know, take a look at what it is that is missing in your life and really make your life full and happy. And then it isn't until then that you'll manifest that back into your life, that person into your life. I feel like if you're not happy and you're overly exhausted and you're not taking care of yourself, and if you are in that feminine energy, you're missing that part of you, explore those areas. Like it worked for me, it will work for you too.
Yay. And so for me, all I want to say is just remember also, like if you're getting your feminine energy, you start to feel good, don't forget to take those aligned soul actions, really connecting with your soul and really following that intuition, because there's so many things that your soul is going to tell you that you're going to be flowing, and it makes it just so much easier to flow through life and just following what your intuition is telling you to do. And when you do that, connect with loving yourself, connect with knowing your worth, connect with your soul, and taking those actions, knowing and trusting and believing that you know what is best, you're connected to guidance and source and God, then you are going to manifest the guy or the relationship or the woman or whatever you want. Yeah. You are going to bring that into your life, and it is going to be amazing. So that's it for us today. You know, you can find us in the lounge at the W&D podcast on Facebook. And that is a place where we'll drop the show notes and you'll learn so many different things about us. You can ask us questions. You can do it in the comments. please, please, please leave a review for us. Subscribe as well, because we are going to be doing this once a week and talking about some amazing, amazing stuff. And if you guys leave enough comments, who knows? Maybe we'll do it twice a week. Who knows? So anyway, we love this. Thanks, Irina.
Thank you so much, Christine.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here. And I love it. So hugs, kisses, all the feels. Bye,
guys.
Thank you for tuning in to the W&D podcast. If you loved it as much as we loved recording it for you, please leave a review and join us. Join me and Irina on Facebook and Instagram at The Woo and The Do. Also, please come hang out with us in the lounge on Facebook. It is our insiders group. You'll have access to me and you'll have access to Irina, and we will give you show notes and freebies and all kinds of amazingness, and you can connect with more listeners of this podcast and have a listening party. In the meantime, remember to embrace all of your woo-woo goodness and continue to take that divine inspired action and do the do. Bye.